Hey people, it's Wednesday. I'll come back at you already. There's lots going on, and so I'll talk to you today. Hope everyone is doing well. Maybe that makes a little bit of difference, okay? Since I've spoken to you, I've received two packages, and I'll do this review first. I'm just waking up, so I'm just gonna get up. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna just do this, okay? So I recently heard from I think his name is Bill, and he is obviously working in promotion for either a record label or a publishing company or something. But he asked me if I would be, he wanted to send me some music. And he was wise about it because he sent me a link to the artists first to see if I would be interested in them. And of the artists that he linked me to, the one that was more interesting than the other because one link was to a funk band, and I have no interest in funk bands unless it's something really exceptional. But tired funk, no. And the other person was more interesting to me, and so I'll tell you about Lewis Watson and his release called Midnight. This is on the label Cooking Vinyl. The label Cooking Vinyl came to my attention years ago because of XTC getting on the label. I always remember that about the label, for sure. But this is a young man, apparently only 24 years old, Oxford-based, and I think the main thing that I want to tell you about this guy is that I've listened to this 3 times. This music, I'm not sure who it's for, but it's obviously not for someone like me when it comes to the words, okay? Musically, I like this a lot. I like the tone of this music. He doesn't sound like Bon Iver, but Bon Iver comes to mind as a reference point. As I've told you before, I really don't pay a lot of attention to the lyrics. It's the shape and the feel of the music. It sounds like the man is trying to sing about things beyond relationships. There's an anthemic feel to several of these pieces, like he's reaching for something big beyond himself. I like that. I like the mixture of acoustic and electronic. It's not quite just singer-songwriter. That's why I bring up Bon Iver. I don't own Bon Iver. I've heard his records. Through the digital, I am very familiar with Bon Iver. So that's why I make him as a comparison to someone contemporary. Bill, the guy that sent this to me, I think you have a good artist on your hands. Do I think he has the potential to break out in a large mass way? Well, anymore, this is my opinion about that. It seems to me that the way to break out is to do a lot of grassroots and then have some sort of hook that makes large amounts of people respond. I just think this guy is good, and he will find his audience. I'll tell you, I like this enough that I'll listen to it again. The cover, I think, is indicative of the artistic. The album and the music is artistic. It's good. It strikes me as something slightly familiar, but warm and inviting. And when I put it on, it's like I'm interested in hearing more. Okay, as opposed to the other band that this person recommended to me that he might send, which is a funk band, and after a few bars, I knew what they were going to do, and I was done with it. Okay, so Lewis Watson, some of you folks may really like this guy. Okay, let me get another sip, and I'll keep going. I also received another unexpected package from another Bob. I won't say your last name, Bob. I don't know if people would like that or not, for me to say your last name. But I received an unexpected package. I'm looking for the letter. I don't see it right away. But in the package, I received an album and a book. I'll show you the album first. Bob, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bob sent me a limited edition version of Leonard Cohen's You Want It Darker. He said something to the effect that something I said in reviewing this or talking about Leonard Cohen touched him. And so he sent this to me, which I really appreciate. It's on white vinyl. I appreciate having this. I would have never bought this album. But since I own it, I got to play it and listen to it and really appreciate it. Leonard Cohen was a poet's poet. And as you know, he was a spiritual man. I'm going to shut this. He was a spiritual man. You know, he was a monk for a while. But he was also a human being. And so I read the lyrics of all the songs as well as listening to it. So there's a mixture of relationships and relationships to God, or trying to understand or wrestle with reality, humanity, God and man. It's all in here. And his words are pretty profound in my opinion. I also think that he is such a good poet that you can see what you want in his words, even though he's telling you exactly what he wants to tell you. Because there's some slams on the church in here that I see that can easily be interpreted as not being that, but they are. There's some slams on here on dogma, you know, and how dogma just can be a dead end. But there's some blues on here, and I just, I am not one of those people who is comforted by the sound of the blues changes. One of the wonderful things about the blues is that it is so amazing that you can play blues changes without it sounding like the blues. That interests me. But straight blues, like there's some straight blues on here, it's like I just pick up the needle and move on. But his words are profound and his voice is wonderful. Thank you so much, Bob. Besides sending that to me, I like this even better. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, people, for getting me, for getting understanding. Some of you really understand, it seems, what kind of person I am. He sent me a copy of the book, The Fifth Agreement. I've talked about the 4 agreements, and I shared how I didn't own this, but I had read it online. He picked up on that, and he sent me a copy. Thank you very much, Bob. This information, it's not about the authors. It's not about the messenger. It's about the information. This is very, very vital information for those who are ready for it. And thank you for sending this to me, because this is so timely. I've been on this without calling it that for a long time. The idea that be skeptical of everyone, including yourself. Most people walk around and live this world just assuming that the way reality is the way reality is, and that what they've been taught is the truth. I, for one, know that that's not true. I understand very well that reality is what we perceive, and we live in the mind, and each person's mind is their world. And most people just assume that we're all seeing and thinking the same thing, which is so far from the truth. So this book is really wonderful, how it just is talking about the idea of no one knows anything. We have our experience, but we don't know. I don't know anything. All I know is my experience, so I go by it. But to just assume that that's the way things are, it's very dangerous. This is why we have war. This is why we have religious wars. This is why people kill each other over ideas. They don't even have enough presence of mind to realize, the only problem I'm having with this person is something they think that's different than something I think, and I'm about to kill them. And this happens every day. Thank you for the book, Bob. And thank you. Yes, thank you. I sent your orders. He ordered some music. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anders in Sweden. A different one, not the one that, not Anders Allen. Thank you. Good to see you, Anders, if you watch. But another one bought records and let me know that he listens to my jazz program every week. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Before I go, what else is down here in my stack? Roger Eno, Between the Tides. I hadn't played this in a long time because it starts off really the first thing he does on here is he copycats a melody of his brother Brian, which, probably maybe they thought it was necessary for him to try to do something to align himself with Eno listeners. I don't think it was necessary, because once he gets past that, the album just goes its own direction and it's very beautiful. Piano and strings. This is really beautiful. Some other stuff sitting out here. I really like what they call library music. Music that's made for industry. A lot of musicians, that well-known musicians, have done a lot of library music where it's used for television production. And those records are collectible. Here's one called Spinning Like a Top, where it's called Light Group Pieces with a Classical and Jazz Influence, played by Sounds Ahead. Some of the pieces, there's a wide variety on here of music, but a couple of the tracks on here are pretty funky, pretty cool. Another one that I pulled that I really like. The cover's damaged, but this is really good. Super Dupe. This is another library music album by the band Chameleon. Up-to-date group sounds featuring electronic keyboards with instrumental backing. This is really good. This is just what I like. Instrumental, a variety of moods, but melodically really, 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 really just yummy. Really good. Years ago, I bought a bunch of techno that was outdated, and every now and then I'll just play them, even though the stuff is outdated, and I'll find one that really hits the button. And here's one that did. It's Fergie, the Me EP. This came out in like 2007 or 8. It's pumping techno, very repetitive, but this is a good one. It's a good listen. I can imagine it would really be great on the dance floor, but it's enjoyable just to listen to. Some other records sitting out that I played. I get on these Porcupine Tree Jags. They're that kind of band that when I listen to them, I'll get into a mood where I just want to hear them over and over again. So I listened to In Absentia, the album where Gavin Harrison, the drummer, joined them and really kind of upped their game. This is a very good album. I pulled this because it's only on CD. Stars Die. It's a compilation of their stuff by Porcupine Tree, plus an extra disc of, 2 discs of stuff. Stars Die, really like that song off of here, Dark Matter. Dark Matter is a great track off of here. Really nice box set, big book and stuff. I played In Absentia on CD. And then also I was listening to Signify. I have this on vinyl, but I was playing the CD. CDs are great to play. Yeah, many CDs are a better play than the vinyl. Some are. I just love the romance of the album. German band, Birth Control, Plastic People, progressive rock. This is really good. Much better than I remembered it. It's like it's been years since I played this album. Years. Easily 10 years. And this is great. Prog rock, 1975. It's got that sound. That's all I can tell you. Organ, Germany, 70s, killer. I was surprised I'd forgotten. Once I put it on, I remembered how I liked this album. But it's like, as it kept playing, it's like, I forgot how good this is. Birth Control. Pop Perfection from, I believe they're from Australia, the Go-Betweens. This is a 12-inch single, Bachelor Kisses. Just a fantastic song. Bachelor Kisses. Any thoughts about Valentine's Day, which was yesterday? Well, I'll repeat what I said there, which is I almost became a monk, a priest, because celibacy is not an issue. Love is love. Love is not sex, and intimacy isn't necessarily love. It's nice. Some of us, speaking for myself, have greater difficulty than others. I'm pretty self-centered, apparently. I want to do what I want to do. Music is my main thing. Whenever I've had a girlfriend, I've always struggled with how the woman expects to become the number one point of attention in your life. I've never met a woman who would just let me continue to be myself. They always want to rise above my interest in music. It ain't happening. So consequently, a long time ago, I just, the idea of being in a monogamous, loving relationship, it's not important to me. I have a lot of love, and I just focus on the agape love. I am single. I am celibate. Yeah, I am for a long time. People don't believe it, but it's my life. Don't care if you believe it or not, because it's not for you to judge. It's my life, okay? And I'm fine with it because of all the stickiness, psychically, mentally, beyond the pleasure and the thrill that you can get from being with someone. It's quite a task. It's quite a challenge. And some people, that's what they want. It's not what I want. I enjoy. Let me put this right. I love love. I love being loved. I love loving others. I love people. But I don't like codependency. I don't like entanglement. And when I want to be left alone, I want to be left alone. And so rather than potentially make someone miserable by trying to be in a relationship with them while I'm trying to do my thing, I just stay to myself. I have a lot of love in my life. I really do. And so Valentine's Day was just another day for me. And people who think that they are lucky because they found someone as opposed to someone who is alone, don't be thinking that about me, because I'm not lonely, and I'm not one of those people who thinks like the other person must be thinking, which is I must not be worth anything if I don't have anyone. That's an illusion. It's something that we're taught, and I know better. I do value myself, and I see through the illusion of loneliness. Loneliness is a state of mind, and mostly what loneliness tells us is that we don't like ourselves. So those are my thoughts on Valentine's Day. I could have a million girlfriends and boyfriends. I don't need the hassle. Funnily enough, I pulled out the Sisters of Mercy to listen to on Valentine's Day and got into it. I love this band. Saw them live on this tour in Chicago. They were mind-blowing. I played this album twice all the way through. I love every song. Years ago, I did my own version of Mary Ann. Can't find it anymore. Pulled some singles too and played Alice, No Time to Cry, even though it's on the album. I just played the singles, Walk Away, just because I like this stuff a lot. Last thing I'll show is a Canadian artist, Jane Seabury. Somebody showed her records online in one of the Facebook groups, and it reminded me to play her. No Borders here. Jane Seabury is excellent. Excellent. That's all I got to say. Just find out about her. Musically and lyrically, the woman is very unique. And speaking of that, before I go, I do want to share that it tickles me that through Facebook, artists who I really, really think a lot of are in touch now. I was telling you that Dagmar Krause, who was in Slap Happy and Art Bearers, is a friend of mine on Facebook. Just this morning, we had our first exchange. That means a lot to me. I mean, sure, she's just a person like anyone else, but remember, that music changed my life, made it for the better. And so these artists, when I hear from them and we actually have a conversation, it means the world to me. I heard from Charles Hayward yesterday from This Heat. Left me a message. I love it, people. It's a bucket list thing come true. It is. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you soon, people.